This is Joel, and in this video we will talk about something interesting in SD-WAN. Now you would have already checked out most of my videos on my channel under the playlist called Cisco SD-WAN, right, which where I detail on a lot of interesting labs which you can perform using EVE-NG. Now, when I was exploring SD-WAN a couple of months back, I did not concentrate much on the C edges, right? So I think most of my labs, or in fact the whole topology, did not have any C edge in it. I had just used only V edges in my lab, right? So I did get a couple of comments over the last 2 months where people were asking, can you do a quick video on how to install a C edge, right, on EVE-NG and kind of use it in the SD-WAN topology, right? So I got some time this weekend. So what I did was I pulled my topology, right? And you can also get an access to this topology. You just need to go down to my GitHub page over here, right? Click on the second box here and you basically get the GitHub page, and over there I have uploaded my topology so you can play around with the topology. Now what I've done is I've picked up my last topology which I have used throughout the video series, and I went and replaced three of my edge devices with I replaced my V edges with CSR 1000 Vs, right? So this R1, R2 and this BR3, so these are the CSR 1000 Vs. Sweet. So that's what I've done, and what we'll do in this video is, so I've already installed, I believe, R1 and R2. Let me grab that screen. I think it should be somewhere here. Let's see. I think it's here. Yeah, there you go. So let's go back to my dashboard. Right. So on my dashboard, you can see that I already have 5 WAN edges, onboarded. And in this 5, you can look at which are those 5, right? I probably have, maybe I've logged out. So let me just log in again. Sometimes the vManage does that. So let's log in again. Okay. So that's good. And if you look at the list of 5 edges which are already there, out of the 5, 3 are VH clouds, right? Whereas the rest of the 2 are CSR 1000 Vs, which I've already kind of onboarded, right, in my topology. But before onboarding the last one, I kind of wanted to record this video so that I can show you guys as well how simple it is to kind of make your CSR 1000V work in the SD-WAN mode, right? Cool. So that's what we are going to do in this video. Nothing complicated. So sit back and relax. So like I said, so these are some of the steps. What I did was I went down to my software CCO page, right, where you download your software and you go down to your XC SD-WAN routers, right, and here you find CSR 1000V. You have a couple of options here. If you want the older 16.x releases which were kind of like meant only for SD-WAN, you can go down to that, or you can go to the newer releases, which is iOS XE Amsterdam, which was recently released. It's 17.3.1a, right? So this is what I'm running, right? And download the QCO2 image from here, right? The QCO2 image. So let's see which is that. So in order to figure out which image it is, you can go down to your EVE-NG how-to page, and here they have described what images you really need to download. So it's going to be something like this, right? So you're going to have serial.qco2, right? So let's figure that out. Yeah, this one, the first one, right? So download that image. It's probably like 1000 whatnot, around 1 GB of file, right? So yeah, so download this particular image and then follow the steps which are described here. Basically, you don't have to do anything complicated. You just need to upload it to the QEMU folder, right? And make sure that the name of the folder is right as mentioned like this, and obviously you have to rename the QCO to something like this and fix the permission. So once you do all these 4 steps, what you do is your node will start appearing on your EVE-NG topology, right? So after that, what I've done is I've just brought that device over here in my topology, and right now I've not done any configuration on it. I've just powered it on. So if you go to my screen here, just grab this away. Yeah. So if you come down to my screen, this is what you see, right? So when you power it on, you basically see this. Now, the other important thing is the documentation, right? Whenever you're exploring something new, make sure you have the right documentation handy. So for 17.3. whatever that release, right, you can go down to the Cisco documentation, right? You can see the navigation over here. So you go down to the configuration guides and you look at the latest release 17, right? The documentation for this, you'll find all your information here. In fact, I think Cisco has kind of changed a little bit with the documentation, the view, right, which looks really cool. You have a drop down here and all of that, right? Anyway, so come down to the 17 and you can go and read the first section, which tells you, like for example, this is important, right? The compatibility matrix. So this kind of tells you basically which features are supported and which release is supported on which vManage, vBond, and vSmart and stuff like that, right? Not gonna go deep into that, but the stuff which is important for us is the second PDF, or let's say the configuration guide, and this talks a lot of cool stuff. You can read the first sections. Let me show you the stuff which is important for us. So the autonomous mode and the controller mode, right? So starting from 17. I think X, they have this very interesting concept of autonomous mode and controller mode. So when you bring the device first, right, when you have it, when you power it on the first time, you basically boot it up in what we call as the autonomous mode, right? I don't know if it will be mentioned here. Yeah, there you go. See, system booted in autonomous mode. So it's going to by default come up in the autonomous mode. And here it clearly tells that the default mode is the autonomous mode, but it carries the functionality of Cisco iOS XE non-SD-WAN deployment, right? So this particular image is, or this particular mode is useless for us because we want to use it in a SD-WAN deployment. So what you have to do is you have to move away from autonomous mode to what we call as the controller mode. So you have to come down to this. So now what's the very next question on your head? Is how do we do that? How do we move to that particular mode? So scroll down. You will probably find a command called as controller mode enable, right? So this is what we want. So let's copy this. Let's go back here. Let's go back to this guy. Let's break out of this PNP kind of a process, right? So would you like to enter initial configuration? No. And terminate auto install? Yes. Right. So now it's probably going to take few seconds for it to break out of that. Let me just quickly pause the video for a few seconds while that happens. All right, so looks like that stopped. Let me just go into the enable mode, and I'm gonna paste this command, which is controller mode enable, right? So it's going to ask you, it's gonna say it is this changing the mode will erase the NVRAM file system, remove all the configuration files, and it will reload the box. That's fine. So I'm gonna say confirm, right? And it's also going to say it's not able to find what we call as a bootstrap config. Now again, bootstrap config is not mandatory. I'll show you that we can still add the node to the topology without doing that, but large scale deployment people use bootstrap config, right? So bootstrap config will have some basic configurations which we would obviously be doing it manually, but you can load that config on the box, so that when the box comes up, it will basically come with that config. Now it's asking, do you want to abort? No, obviously not, because I'll be doing the bootstrap config manually. So now what it will do is it will go ahead and reload the box, right? Now again, it's going to take few seconds for this. I'm going to pause the video and come back once the reload is completed. All right, so it's completed. Now it's going to drop you on this page. So what I'm going to do is we'll put in the default username password, which is admin and admin, just like any of our normal V-edge devices, right? It's going to ask you to change the password. I'm going to change that. Okay, it's happy, or maybe not, but that's fine. It's dropped me on the enable prompt now. Okay, so we are here now, right? And this is the controller enabled mode, right? So which means you'll be able to run commands like shows SDWAN, right? So you can see the SDWAN works, right? So basically it kind of means that or we can also see which mode we are on, right? I think there is a show command for that. I think, yeah, we could do probably show version and it will be mentioned over there, right? So let's do that. So if you run this command, and it's going to tell you that, there you go, it's in the controller managed mode, and this is where you need to be. Cool. Now once you're here, what we'll do next is we will probably do some Bootstrap Configs, right, ourselves. So on iOS XE router, if you want to get into the configuration mode, so you got to do something called config transaction, right, and it's gonna then drop you inside the config mode, right? So once you do that, let's do some basic configurations, like for example the system configuration. You would have seen me doing this. It's pretty much the same. Slightly there's going to be a little difference with the syntax, but you can observe here it's almost the same. So put in the system config. There you go. The system config, like for example the system IP, the vbound IP, the organization name, the site ID, and so on. Let's also drop the host name and probably the interface information, right? So that's the host name is going to be BR3, and the interface and no shutdown and the IP address for the interface as well. And then we have the tunnel configuration, right? Again, like I said, it's slightly different from your traditional V-edge configuration, right? It's the syntax is slightly different because it's obviously running it on iOS XE, right? So that's why. So you see, then you gotta enable the tunnel, right? And this is you can put in the, you'll have to use in the IP unnumbered gigabit 1, which is the interface, right? So that's what you do. Okay, gigabit 1 is basically this interface. Let me show you that. So it's this interface which is pointing towards the transport side, right? So we are done with that, and then the last part is you'll have to go inside the SDWAN mode. So let's do that. You'll have to go inside the SDWAN mode, and you'll have to enable the tunnel for the interface, for the transport facing interface, right? So there you go. You'll not be using VPN and stuff here because this is iOS XE. VPN basically corresponds to VRF in Cisco, right? The word VPN, all of that was used in Viptela, so all the Viptela devices probably still use it, but when you're running it on a C-edge, right, when you're running SD-WAN on C-edge, you will basically be sticking to your traditional networking concepts, which is VRF and so on. Cool. So that being said, the last part is you'll also have to put in a default route, right? Now this default route obviously will go inside the global routing table, which is kind of like the VPN 0, right? So you can map that way. Whatever was VPN 0 in our traditional VHs is nothing but the global routing table in our iOS XE. Now once you do this, obviously you have to commit. So let's commit it. Okay, looks like it went through, or did it? Maybe not. Let's see. Okay, looks like it went through. That's good. Now the next important thing is we will have to download that root key, right? So for example, I have my root certificate, basically the root certificate from your enterprise root certificate, which on a TFTP server here. So I'm going to use TFTP to download that, right? So let's download that. So let's do let's get out of here. Probably let's do copy. It's giving a lot of, okay, let me clear the screen a bit. Sorry. Okay, there you go. So let's do copy TFTP : the IP address is 1.1.0.100, and from there you'll be copying it to where? Your boot flash probably. So let's copy it to boot flash. The source file name will be nothing but the root ca.pem, right? Your file name might be different, that's fine, but this is the root ca, right? Which you basically have. Where do you have? You have it here as well. Let me show you. You basically go down to, is that administration settings, and here, right, the controller certificate. Because I'm using the enterprise CA, you can look here, right? So this is the root CA. So this is what I am basically kind of like downloading it onto my C-edge using TFTP, right? So there you go. So I'm gonna say that's the source file name, destination file name. It is trying to access, and there you go, it's done. So let's look at it if it is already, if it's there. Yeah, there you go. I can see root CAPM, right? That looks good. So it's already downloaded. The next is, once you have the root CA, then it's pretty simple. I mean, how do you normally activate your VH, right? It's a very similar process. So we will go down to our, we'll probably go down here to our devices. We'll look at the WAN edge list. Right now you can see probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devices have been activated using my serial file. Let's go ahead and activate the next device, but remember to use the chassis number and the token number of a device which is a CSR1000V, right? Because if you use something for the VH Cloud, then that would not work. So I'm going to pick the next CSR1000V, which is free, probably this guy, right? So let's grab this one. So this is the chassis number. So what's the command for activating? It's pretty simple again. So you just need to do request platform. I think it's platform. Request platform software SDWAN and sorry, not VH Cloud. Is it VH Cloud? Let me think. Yeah, the command is still the same. So it's VH Cloud, and then we'll say activate chassis, and this is the place where you put in the chassis number which you copied, and then you say token, right? Token, and then you go down to the token. Where is the token? Here, right? Let's grab the token from here. This is the token, and let's go and paste it here, right? And hit the enter, and within few seconds you should start seeing that this particular, CSR1000V, which is the one which we used. I forgot. I think we used probably this one. I'm not sure. Maybe we used this one. Yeah. Anyway, so in few seconds, this particular CSR, this one will basically start. You'll start seeing some changes here. So let's see that. Nothing yet, I believe. We can surely troubleshoot if it doesn't work, but I think it should be fine. Let's see if our command went through. Our command went through. Let's see if I can ping 1.1.0.11 in case. Yeah, that seems to work. So let's probably wait then. It sometimes takes few minutes for the activation to happen. Right. So let's wait for a few minutes. I'll just pause the video and I'll come back. All right. Okay. So I think I missed one step. My bad. You see, I kind of downloaded the PEM file, right? But I did not install the PEM file, so that's pretty bad. I actually initiated the activation, but I should have actually installed the certificate, right? So I'm gonna do that. So request platform software SDWAN root certificate, right? Chain install, and where is the file right now? It's in boot flash, and it is root, right? There you go. So let's install this first. Okay, you can see something is happening. It should give a succeeded. Yeah, there you go, right? Successfully installed the root certificate. And now you can see some logs coming in. So if you don't see any logs, which means, you see it was very silent over here. So if you don't see any logs, then it means that something is getting screwed up, right? So make sure that, you get some logs of this sort, right? Now you can see probably this guy is trying to talk to this one. Let's refresh it here. There you go, right? You can see the stuff is changing here. It is telling CSR generated, right? So in few seconds, this particular symbol will change to this, the other symbols basically, right? So let's check that. Let's refresh, right? We'll have to wait for again few seconds. Meanwhile, there you go. It's done, right? So the new CSR1000V was added. You can see this is the guy, right, which we just now added. Okay, that was the guy, right? Let's double confirm. What did we use? Something ending with 7117. So okay, so this one, okay, this is the one which we added just now, right? So you can see that it has succeeded, and it's converted. So right now we have 6 edges, right? And I think we should start seeing that in the main dashboard as well. There you go. So we've got 6 edges. Obviously the control connections, all of that would be down because we don't have the right configurations on it, right? But that's okay. We can fix that. So what I'll do now is what I'll do now is I have already prepared the templates which needs to be deployed on this particular device. So let's go and do that, right? But from an installation perspective, that is it, right? Once the device appears here, I think you guys know pretty much that you can do whatever you want. So that being said, let's go down to my templates. Okay, and I have prepared a separate template for BR3 already. So I'm gonna just go and attach the device here. So I'm gonna say BR3. I'm gonna say attach, right? And there you go. it's probably going to ask me for some variables which I have already. So this is nothing but concerning my topology, right? I mean, actually, in fact, if you have followed my earlier videos, I have done the very same step but with the V-edges, right? So all these values which I'm going to be typing in now is directly from there, right? So but yeah, let me do that quickly. So we'll have to put in the site ID, which is going to be obviously 103, and the system IP is going to be 172.16.0.103. What else? So we'll have to put the latitude and longitude, right? So I would want I'm not sure which location I think I'm basing this on, so I'll go with 27 degree and minus 81. I'm not sure, maybe this is Sydney, I'm not very sure, we'll have to confirm. Let's go from down. Okay, so the host name is going to be BR3, obviously. There you go. I've got most of this already on my cache, so that's pretty easier. BGP VPN 0 MPLS neighbor address, right? So I also have BGP template added to this particular device template, so we'll have to get that address. So that's 10.0.103.1, right? The AS number is going to be 65.103. This is nothing but the BGP part, right, which I have already configured in my topology. I'm just putting in the values. Then you have VPN 0 IPv4 address. So that's going to be, I believe, is that, let me see. So give me a second. VPN 0 IPv4 address is, I forgot. It's, let me look at my topology. All right. So that looks good. So I'm gonna, I just picked the values from my old snapshot here. Yeah, this is not very relevant to the discussion. I just want to show you how easy it is to add a C-edge, right? So this is already part of my topology. So I'm gonna just say update. I'm gonna say next. Let's see if there are some errors. So it's a very nice way to validate if whatever we are doing is right. So let's wait. Doesn't look like there are errors. I'm going to say configure device, and let's wait for it to push the configs. Right, I think it should be doing that anytime now. There you go. Here is the thing. It's trying to push the configs. Right. Let's wait and see. Should start seeing some logs here. Right. Looks like vManager has authenticated. So all the configuration it does using netconf, right? So that's pretty cool. Login. All right, let's see if this is done. Probably not yet. Refresh, refresh. Still going through. Okay, finally done. So let's go back here. There you go. Looks like quite some logs. I'm gonna do show control connections. Sorry, because it's Cisco ISXE, you gotta do show SDWAN control connections. Okay, there you see we have the control connections already up, right? Pretty cool. We can also look at the show run configuration here. In fact, if you want to look at, you can do show SDWAN. So always make sure to put the word SDWAN whenever you are doing anything with SDWAN here. So it will be show SDWAN running config, and it's going to show you the structure of the configuration. It's going to be slightly different from our traditional V-edge or Viptela devices, right? Because it's Cisco ISXE. So the format will be slightly different, but still all your concepts of SD-WAN, all of that, your traditional networking concepts would still hold good, right? Nothing, no surprises over there. Okay, if you want to have a quick look, we could do that. So if you see at the top, you've got the system configuration, right, which we did. We've got, I mean, we in doing the Bootstrap, we kind of pushed it manually, but my template then pushed the correct or the more updated one, so it has more configurations over there. And then you can see the various VPNs. VPNs are nothing but VRFs in case of Cisco ISXE, right? So you see every time you create a VPN, it basically translates it to VRF over here. So in the top, where is that? Let's go top again. Okay, it's because of a lot of locks coming down at the bottom. My screen seems to be jumping, right? But anyway, so you can see the VRFs on the screen now. You've got VRF 10 and then the 512. 512 is for management. 10 is for the service side VRF or VPN. You don't have anything called as VPN 0, but that's understood because that's the global routing table itself. And you have the two default gateways, right? One for each of the transports, one for internet and one for MPLS. And you've got the interfaces, gigabit 1, right, which is the transport facing. Gigabit 2 also is transport facing. So the first one is for internet, second one is for MPLS. And the gigabit 3 is the service side, right? And you can see me doing sub interfaces over here, right? You've got the VLAN 10, right, which is one of the segmentation, right? You can create any number of VLANs over here to segment your network. And then we've got like a loopback address as well, which is kind of again put inside VRF 10, right, just for the connectivity purposes, right? So it's a very good practice to take the system IP, right, which is 172.16.0.103 and make it routable. How do you do that? You give it to a loopback and put it inside one of the VPN. That way it becomes routable. And you've got all the cool stuff here. You also have the BGP, though I'm not using much of it. I'm just forming neighborships. As you see, I'm not advertising anything into it. So literally BGP is not doing much here because I really have static routes pointing outside, right? But that's mainly it, right? So let's see what has happened on my vManage now. There you go, right? Earlier it was 5 devices. Now you see the 6th device has come up and all my sites are up and everything looks good, right? You can also do a test from here. For example, if I want to talk to my headquarters, right? So I'll have to do ping VRF, which VRF? VRF 10, right? Because that's the service side VRF, and the IP address is 172.16. I can do 1.1, I believe. That's one of the, there you go. I'm able to talk, right? So I'm able to talk between BR3 and my headquarters, which is 172.16. 1.1 is, I think the 1.1 is probably the switch, right? There is one more IP on the switch. I can probably do 32.1, and there you go. That is also the IP on the switch, right? Or we could also check it from here as well. We can go to the monitor page. Let's go to the network. Let's select the new device which we added just now, which is BR3. Let's go down to troubleshooting, right? I really love the flow, simulate flow functionality here, right? So we can do VPN 10, and let's do it from this guy, the gigabit 172.16. Wait, what did I select? Okay, yeah, it's correct. It's the VPN 10, right? The interface in VPN 10, the sub interface, in fact. And here I can talk to probably I don't know, branch 101. Let's do 101. So it's 172.17 1.1. Let's see what this happens. So let's simulate. There you go, right? So from my branch, which is the new branch which I just now added, branch 3, I'm able to talk to branch 1 as well. I can change this to 2, and we should see that we are able to talk to branch 2 as well, right? So and maybe we could do one more if you want, right? So we could do 172.16.1.1. so that's the headquarters, and here you go. We've got 8 options because we have 2 devices at the headquarters, right? R1 and R2. That's why we have the 8 various options. And also it is doing cross coloring, which means it is using MPLS to go from here to there and then coming back in public internet, which we can restrict if you want, but for now I've kept it default. So hope that was useful, right? I mean, I just wanted to show how you can bring up C-edge on your lab and you can play around, and this is something which could be useful. Now you can, if you want to test, you can probably take the C-edge and replace every edge with your C-edge, or you can use a mix match of the devices like I have used, right? You can see me, I've used 3 of C-edges and the rest of the 3 are still the V-edges, right? So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope that was useful. Do come back. Thanks. Bye.